Hello viewers, welcome to MindMajix, your skill partner. What is the one technology you want to master in this internet era? I'm sure 6 out of 10 will opt for AI. Yes, you heard it right. In today's world, AI is playing a key role in automating every possible industry. AI is the future. To ease the chances of getting hired in AI job roles, we are here with 40 interview questions that are asked in various interviews to assess candidates' knowledge. Our experts have filtered thousands of interview questions and came up with few frequently asked questions. Before finding answers to the tricky interview questions, please do like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for successful interview guidance, tutorials and trainings. And now, let's get started with our expert answers to the AI interview questions.
In this tutorial, we are going to learn how to prepare for artificial intelligence interview question. So let's start with the question number 1. Question number 1. What is the difference between AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning and deep learning? Basically, this type of question are coming in the starting of the interview, like first or second question, because these question are having with the very basic level. So first of all, whenever you are trying to give this answer for this question, so you are just basically start with the basic understanding about the AI, ML and deep learning. First of all, you have to start look like artificial intelligence can be discovered around 1950s with the first invention is the Turing test, and that is developed by the Alan Turing. That is a very important thing are there in an artificial intelligence thing. Second is the machine learning. Machine learning first time explored around the 1960s, and the deep learning can be orientated around the 1970s. Artificial intelligence represents the simulated intelligence in machines, whereas the machine learning is the practice of getting machines to make the decision without being programmed. This first definition of the machine learning can be coming around 1916 by the Arthur Sammy. If I'm talking about the deep learning is the process of using artificial neural networks to solve the complex problem. Basically, deep learning thing is based upon the biological neuron. AI, it's artificial intelligence, is the subset of the data science, where the machine learning is the subset of the artificial intelligence, and the deep learning is the subset of the machine learning. Whereas AI, ML and DL all are the subsets of the data science, because data science are having like whole universe. Aim is to build the machine which are capable of thinking like humans, whereas the machine learning aim is regarding to the make the machine learn through the data so they can solve the problem. As compared to AI and machine learning, deep learning are having aim it look like to build a neural network that automatically discover the patterns for a feature detection. So that's how you can give the answer of the difference between the AI, ML and deep learning. Also, if the interview will ask to you regarding to like what is the AI and what is the deep learning. Also, somewhere the question is regarding to look like what is the difference between AI and computer vision or AI versus natural language processing. So you can consider AI or the natural language processing with the deep learning, and the AI definition is look like similar. Question number 2. What is artificial intelligence, and give an example of where AI is used on a daily basis. So first of all, for giving this answer, you have to clear the idea about the artificial intelligence on a brief level. Because if you are just only given the definition, single definition of the artificial intelligence, it's not look good. So that's why you have to explain the artificial intelligence on a brief level. So artificial intelligence is an area of computer science that emphasizes the creation of the intelligent machines that work and react like humans. And the main definition of the artificial intelligence is the capability of a machine to imitate the intelligent human behavior. So at then, what are the products you have to make based upon the artificial intelligence? It look like the human response. If I'm talking about the more about the artificial intelligence, so artificial intelligence is depends upon the 4 factors, that is the human thinking, rationally thinking, human acting, and the rationally acting. So based upon these 4 parameters, artificial intelligence is wholly dependent. And last, you have to provide one example. So example is the Google search engine. One of the most popular artificial intelligence application is the Google search engine. If you are going with more depth, so you can ask like if you open up your Chrome browser and start the type something, Google immediately provide the solution recommend related to your question. So the logic behind the search engine is the artificial intelligence. If you want to give the more example as compared to the Google search engine, you can also ask us to look like AI uses a predictive analytics, natural language processing and machine learning to recommend relevant searches to you. These recommendations are based on the data that Google collects about you and such such as your search history, your location, etc., and your age, like name, what are the things already available in your Google Chrome account. So that will help you that. Does the Google make use of AI to predict what you might be looking for that? Question number 3. What are the different types of AI? Again, this type of question are asking whenever the basic or the intermediate level of the artificial intelligence knowledge, because this question is mostly depends upon the core AI principles. Okay, so it's not look like depends upon the machine learning or the deep learning or further technologies, but this question are depends upon the more core AI principles. Basically, here I mentioned the 7 types of the artificial intelligence. First is the reactive machine AI, limited memory AI, theory of mind AI, self-aware AI, artificial narrow intelligence, artificial general intelligence, artificial superhuman intelligence. Okay, but I'm not just going like overview of this question. I will explain the whole logic behind this question, like what is the reactive machine AI. So this reactive machine AI based on the present actions, like what are the actions done in a present by the agent or robot. So it cannot be use the previous experience to from the current decision and simultaneously update the memory. For example, deep blue. Second is the limited memory AI. So what is the meaning of limited memory AI? Limited memory AI used in a self-driving car. They detect the movement of the vehicle around them constantly and add it to their memory. So limited memory AI is also working look like some type of feedback. Third one is the theory of mind AI. The theory of mind AI advanced, it look like an advanced AI that has the ability to understand the emotion of the people and also other things in the real world thing. Fourth was the self-aware AI. Self-aware AI that pauses the human-like consciousness and the reaction, such as machine have the ability to form the self-driven action. Fifth was the artificial narrow intelligence. Artificial narrow intelligence is also called as is called to look like a general purpose artificial intelligence. It is used in building virtual assistants like Siri, and that is the product coming from the Apple. Sixth one is the artificial general intelligence (AGI). AGI is also known as the strong AI. Okay, because whenever we can talk about the different types of AI, basically there is the two type of AI is there: strong AI and weak AI. Okay, that question we can discuss later in the same series. But first of all, we have to consider over here is the what is the strong AI. So strong AI as an example is the Philo robot that answers the question related to the health. And last one is the artificial superhuman intelligence ASI. ASI that possesses the ability to do everything that a human can do and more. For example, it is the Alpha 2, which is the first humanoid ASI robot. So artificial superhuman intelligence that is related to that one. So that's how you have to consider the 7 different types of artificial intelligence, and you have to answer look like similarly to me. Question number 4. How is machine learning related to the artificial intelligence? In a question number 1, we already seen about what are the difference between the artificial intelligence, machine learning and deep learning. Still, if you want to give the answer of this one, you are giving something little bit different to that answer. Artificial intelligence is a technique that enables machine to mimic human behavior, whereas the machine learning is a subset of the artificial intelligence, and also somewhere machine learning can play the role of the child of the artificial intelligence. It is the science of getting computers to act by feeding them data and letting them learn a few bits on their own without being explicitly programmed to do so. You can also make a difference between their algorithms. Whenever you can work with the artificial intelligence, so basically A star algorithm, A algorithm, as well as DFS algorithm, breast first search algorithm. Also, some type of agent will work like simple agent, model-based agent, or work in artificial intelligence. Whenever we are talking about the machine learning, so in a machine learning, some type of regression technique, classification technique, are work over here. Similarly to the linear regression, logistic regression, decision tree, random forest, and the support vector machine. Therefore, machine learning is a technique of implementing of the artificial intelligence. Question number 5: what is Q learning? Again, Q learning is important question, but the Q learning is not related to the machine learning or the deep learning. Q learning is related to the domain of the artificial intelligence with the business prospect. Whenever the people are solving the problem related to the artificial intelligence for business, at the same time, Q learning is helpful. The Q-learning is reinforcement learning algorithm in which an agent tries to learn the optimal policies from its past experience with the environment. Basically, the Q-learning is coming from the reinforcement learning. Reinforcement learning are coming from the machine learning. But still, the Q-learning is most probably helpful to find out the business problem. So that's why you can also consider Q-learning as a business problem. Mainly, the thing is related to that one. The past experience of an agent are sequence of the state, action, and reward. So that's why in this diagram we are seeing S0, A0, R1, and S1. Okay, so that is represent the state, action, and the reward. In the state diagram, the agent A0 was in the state S0 and on performing an action A0, which resulted in receiving the reward R1 and thus being updated to the state S1. Question number 6. What is deep learning? Deep learning imitates the way of your brain, how it works, and it learns from the experience, and it uses the concept of the neural network to solve the complex problem. If you can see this diagram, so in a diagram there is 4 layers are shown over here: input layer, hidden layer 1, hidden layer 2, and output layer. Basically we have to learn the concept regarding to the input layer, hidden layer 1, and the output layer. So let's talk about the input layer. What is the input layer? This layer receives all the inputs and forwards them to the hidden layer for their analysis. So that's why input layer gives their output to the hidden layer, and hidden layer will take the input from the input layer. What is the hidden layer? So in the hidden layer, various computations are carried out and the result is transferred to the output layer. There can be a n number of hidden layers are there, and then that was depends upon the problem you are trying to solve. That last layer is the output layer. So output layer can taken the input from the hidden layer output. So hidden layer output will represent the output layer input. So in our output layer is responsible for transferring the information from the neural network to the outside world. Question number 7. Explain how deep learning works. So for learning about this question, I already provided here the 2 diagrams. So with the help of the 2 diagrams, you are getting the better idea regarding to this question. Deep learning is based on the basic unit of a brain that is called to brain cell or a brain neuron that is inspired from a neuron, an artificial neuron or a perceptron was developed. So that is also called as artificial neuron or an artificial neuron. It comes from the biological neuron. A biological neuron has dendrites which are used to receive the input. If you can see the diagram of the neurons, at the same time you are seeing about some blue outer lines. Okay, so blue outer lines, that is called as a dendrite in our biological thing. Similarly, a perceptron receives a multiple inputs, applies various transformation and functions, and provides an input. Just like how our brain contains a multiple connected neurons, that is called as a neural network. Similarly, that type of things we have to develop over here in a deep learning, and that is called as an artificial neural network. We can also have a network of artificial neuron called with the help of the perceptron from a deep neural network. An artificial neuron or a perceptron model a neurons which has a set of the input, each of which is assigned some specific weight, and the neuron then compute some of the function on this weighted input and gives the out. So that's how you can give the answer of the how deep learning works. Question number 8. What are Bayesian network? So Bayesian network is basically represented with the machine learning things, because in a machine learning there is a Navy-based theorem is already there. So based upon that, the Bayesian theorem or the Bayesian network will work. A Bayesian network is a statistical model that represents a set of variables and their conditional dependencies in the form of the directed cyclic graph. On the occurrence of an event, the Bayesian network can be used to predict the likelihood that any one of the several possible known causes was the contributing the factor, and that is the main contributing factor. For example, Bayesian network could be used to study the relationship between the disease and the symptom, and given the various symptoms, the Bayesian network is ideal for computing the probabilities of the presence of the various diseases. So that's how Bayesian network can many useful. Question number 9. Explain the assessment that is used to test the intelligence of a machine. So this type of question is also coming in another way, look like what is the Turing test, because this is the question and answer is the Turing test. But somewhere the interviewer will also ask to you question like that, what do you understand about the Turing test, and what is the meaning of Turing test, what is the Turing test, because Turing test is very important thing in an artificial intelligence interview. So basically I already telling you too, like Turing test is coming from the 1950s from the Alan Turing. So Alan Turing, the person who had developed the Turing test. So in artificial intelligence, a Turing test is a method of inquiry for determining the whether or not a computer is capable of thinking like a human being. So basically you have to provide the answer in very short and very clear format of this question. Question number 10. What are hyperparameters in deep neural network? Again, this type of question is coming related to the deep learning, and basically this question are not coming in a starting phase of the interview. This type of question will coming at the end of the interview. So this is very advanced level of question in the interview, because the question is mainly related to the hyperparameters and the deep neural network. That's why hyperparameters are variables that defines the structure of the network. For example, variables such as the learning rate define how the network is trained. Basically, learning rate and this type of things is related to the neural network as well as the learning rate or the cost function type of thing. They are used to define the number of hidden layers that must be present in a network in your particular neural network, and more hidden units can increase the accuracy of the network, whereas a less number of the hidden units or the hidden layers that may cause a underfitting. So that's why hyperparameter in a deep neural network that will create a good impact on that. Next question is the question number 11. Explain the different algorithm used for a hyperparameter optimization. Again, this type of question is coming in an advanced level of the interview, because that is basically related to the machine learning and deep learning, both the things. So that's why, and again, somewhere it is also related to the advanced machine learning as well as. So that's why here we have to talk about the grid search, random search, and Bayesian optimization, and after that we have to discuss about the what are the mainly difference are coming from this field. So first of all, we have to talk about the grid search. Grid search is the one type of the hyperparameter things are there, and that's why grid search trains the network for every combination by using the two set of the hyperparameter, learning rate and the number of layers. Then it evaluates the model by using the cross validation technique as well as. So once basically the model can goes with the cross validation or the normal training and testing splitting, and then it will goes with the cross validation. And once we are not getting some proper accuracy with the cross validation, we are going with the grid search. Second thing was the random search. So it randomly samples the search space and the evaluates the stats from a particularly probability distribution. For example, instead of checking all 10,000 samples, randomly selected 100 parameters can be checked. And third one is the Bayesian optimization. So this includes the fine tuning the hyperparameter by enabling the automated model tuning. The model used for the approximating the objective function is called the surrogate model, and that is related to some type of the Gaussian process. So basically, when which type of hyperparameter is best. So whenever you are having some large data set, so you can go with the random search. But with the large data set, you have something complex data set as well, so you can go with the Bayesian optimization. So that's how you can give the answer of this question. Question number 12. What is the purpose of deep learning frameworks such as Keras, Tensorflow and the PyTorch? So that's why here they just want to know about like what you think about this type of modules and packages. So Keras is an open source neural network library written in a Python. Basically, the deep learning or the machine learning, mainly this type of technology nowadays basically popular with the Python programming language. So most probably the packages are built in a Python language. So that's why it is designed to enable fast experimentation with the deep neural network. Second thing is the TensorFlow. So TensorFlow is an open source software library for data flow programming. It is used for a machine learning application like neural network, and that is developed by the Google. Third one is the PyTorch. PyTorch is an open source machine learning library for a Python based on the Torch, and it is used for applications such as the natural language processing. Basically, PyTorch is also mainly used for the machine learning, but basically whenever the people are making the models on a machine learning, so they are using the Keras, TensorFlow as well as scikit-learn. The PyTorch is not popular for that, but PyTorch is mainly popular for the natural language processing. Question number 13. We have to find out the difference between the NLP and text mining. NLP represents with the natural language processing, and the second thing was the text mining. So first of all, we have to find out what is the total aim about the text mining and the natural language processing, and what is the total product related to that. Aim of the text mining is to extract the useful insight from the structure or the unstructured text. Okay, so whatever the topic you are having some type of essay. So based upon that essay, you have to find out some important words, and based upon and respect to text mining, another things we have to having natural language processing. So aim of the natural language processing is to understand what is the conveyed in a speech. Basically, the natural language processing is based upon the two things like natural language generation and natural language understanding. So NLG and NLU is the main thing regarding to the natural language processing. Text mining can be done using the text processing languages like Perl or statistical models, whereas the NLP achieved using the advanced machine learning model like deep neural network or the artificial neural network. And what are the outcome is coming from the text mining is the frequency of words, patterns, correlations, and over here in NLP, the outcome is related to the like semantic meaning of the text, sentimental analysis, grammatical structure. So these are the outcome from the natural language processing. Question number 14. What are the different components of the NLP? So in a previous question, we are already talk about the like NLP is based upon the two things, natural language understanding and natural language generation. So let's talk about that both the parts. So natural language understanding that includes the mapping input to the useful representation, and second thing was the analyzing the different aspects of the language. Whenever in a natural language generation, that is depends that include the three things. First is the text planning, second is the sentence planning, and third one is the text realization. So that's how you have to ask about the like what are the different components of the NLP. You are not going in very depth with the component of the NLP. Don't forget these interviews related to the artificial intelligence. It is not related to the NLP. So that's why you are just giving the answer related to the other technology in terms of overview. You are not going in a depth with that answer. Question number 15. Explain the component of the expert system. Basically, this expert system is related to again core principle of artificial intelligence. So that's why you can go with the very brief type of these things like what is the meaning of the knowledge base, what is the meaning of the inference engine and user interface as well as okay. So this is very important question according to the core principle of artificial intelligence. So what contains the knowledge base? So it contains the domain specific and high quality knowledge in terms of particularly domain. Like if I want to make an expert system in a medical things or medical domain, we have all the knowledge related to the patients or some type of symptoms related to the medical things. Okay. Second is the inference engine. So inference engine, it acquires and manipulates the knowledge from the knowledge base and to arrive at the particular solution. And the third one is the user interface. So the user interface provides the interaction between the user and the expert system itself. If the user will ask something question and that question answer we have to find out from the knowledge base and inference engine. So that's how expert system can contain the knowledge base, inference engine and user interface, and based upon these three components they can make the final solution related to the particular problem. Question number 16. How is computer vision and AI is related? Again, here the computer vision somewhere it depends upon the deep learning things because we have to add some phases. It will come throughout the deep learning. But again, here the question is related to how is computer vision and AI is related. So we have to just find out the normal difference between the computer vision and artificial intelligence. Computer vision is a field of the artificial intelligence and that is used to obtain the information from the images or the multidimensional data. Machine learning algorithms such as K-means algorithm used for image segmentation, support vector machine is used for the image classification, and so on. In a machine learning, there is many more algorithms are using for a particular purpose. Therefore, particular in a computer vision will make the use of the artificial intelligence technologies to solve the complex problems such as object detection, image processing, and etc. things. Question number 17. Which is better for image classification? Supervised learning is better or the unsupervised learning is better? So here we have to justify that answer. So in a supervised classification, the image are mutually fed and interpreted by the machine learning expert to create the feature classes. And in unsupervised classification, the machine learning software creates the feature classes based upon the image pixel. Therefore, it is better to choose a supervised classification for a image classification in terms of the accuracy, because the supervised learning is based upon the labeled data and the unsupervised learning is based upon the unlabeled data. So in a supervised learning, the data will teach by someone, but in unsupervised learning, the data is not teach by someone. Question number 18. How is game theory and the artificial intelligence is related? In the context of the artificial intelligence and the deep learning system, the game theory is essential to enable some of the key capabilities required in a multi-agent environment in which different AI programs to need to interact or compete in order to accomplish a goal. In terms of the game theories related to the artificial intelligence. Question number 19. How can artificial intelligence be used in a detecting fraud? Again, this type of question is based upon the real world things. Okay, so that's why you have to given the answer this type of question to be careful, because they have to evaluate the things related to you, like how you can detecting fraud in term with the help of the artificial intelligence and what is your thinking regarding to the answer of this question. So you can give the answer look like artificial intelligence is used in a fraud detection problem by implementing machine learning algorithms for detecting anomalies and the studying hidden patterns in the data. So that's why you have to go with the step 5 step. First step, that is the data collection. So basically in a data collection is also you can go look like a data exploration, okay, or the data extraction. So at this stage, data is either collected through a survey or web scraping is performed. And if you are trying to detect the credit card fraud, then information about the customer is collected. And this includes the transactional, shopping, personal details, etc. Second step is the data cleaning. So at this stage, the redundant data must be removed and any inconsistencies or the missing values in the data, they have to lead with the wrongful prediction. So therefore, such inconsistencies must be dealt with these steps, because this step is very important according to the find out the detecting fraud. Third thing is related to the data exploration and the analysis. So this is the most important step in the artificial intelligence or the machine learning process. Here, you study the relationship between the various predictor values. For example, if a person has spent an unusual sum of the money on a particular day and the chances of the fraudulent occurrence are very high. Such patterns must be detected and understood at this stage of exploration and the analysis. Fourth step, that is represent the building a model, that is depends upon the machine learning model. So there are many machine learning algorithms that can be used for detecting fraud. One such is algorithm is the logistic regression, which is a classification algorithm, and it can be used to classify events into two classes, namely fraudulent and the non-fraudulent. And last step, that is called as a model evaluation. So in this model evaluation, you are basically test the efficiency of the machine learning model. If there is a room for improvement, then parameter tuning is performed. This improves the accuracy of the model. Whenever the detecting fraud, you are going with the machine learning algorithm, so you have to follow this type of steps. But whenever you are going with the detecting fraud with the deep learning efforts, so the steps are changed, because at the same time, whenever you are solving these things with the help of the deep learning, at the same time, artificial neural network should be involved. Question number 20. What are intelligent agent? So again, this question is related to the basic and core of the artificial intelligence. Okay, so it's not related to the machine learning or the deep learning. That is basically core question related to the artificial intelligence concept, because this type of things is related to the basics of AI. So an intelligent agent is an autonomous entity that leverages sensors to understand a situation and make decisions. It can also uses the actuators to perform both simple and complex tasks. In the beginning of these things, it might not be so great at a performing task, but it will improve over the time. And the Roomba vacuum cleaner is an excellent example of this normal agent or a simple based agent. Question number 21. What's the most popular programming languages used in AI? So basically, whenever we are working with the artificial intelligence, you can also work with the Python programming language as well as C++, Java, JavaScript as R language as well as. But when we talk about the popular programming language, so the open source modular programming language Python leads the AI industry because of its simplicity and predictable coding behavior. Its popularity can be attributed to open source libraries libraries like Matplotlib, NumPy, efficient frameworks such as scikit-learn, and practical version library like TensorFlow and VTK. Basically, the NumPy library are very used for with working with the Python language, but as well as it is work for the basic mathematics things with the data science or the artificial intelligence. Whereas scikit-learn are mainly used for the predicting machine learning model because that can help to make a machine learning model. Matplotlib libraries there, also Seaborn libraries there, that both library are very useful for to make a data visualization. So every library have their own individual purposes there is there, and also there is a chance that the interviewer might keep the conversation going and ask you for more examples related to language. So you can also go with the Java, Julia, Haskell, and Lisp as well as. Question number 22. What's the difference between strong AI and weak AI? Again, this type of question is based upon the core concept related to the artificial intelligence. So the difference between the two is just like the term sound. And strong AI can successfully imitate human intelligence and is at the end of the core of the advanced robotics. Weak AI can only predict the specific characteristics that resemble human intelligence. Alexa and Siri are the excellent. So here I already provide something related to the strong AI and the weak AI. So let's talk about the individual thing. Strong AI, in a strong AI, it can be applied widely. Extensive scope is there. Human level intelligence is good, and as well as processing data by using a clustering and association. As compared to that, in a weak AI, we are having Alexa and Siri. That type of product is already there, but it can be great at performing some simple tasks, uses both supervised and unsupervised learning, because somewhere Alexa, Siri, this type of product are also go with the some teach data set and also the unlabeled and unteach data set. And the scope can be very minimal in terms of weak AI, but strong AI are having some good scope is there. So that's why it is very popular. Question number 23. How would you describe the machine learning to a non-technical person? So ML is graded towards the pattern recognition. A great example of this is your Facebook newsfeed and Netflix recommendation engine. In this scenario, machine learning algorithm observes the pattern and learn from them. When you deploy a machine learning program, it will keep learning and improving within each attempt. For example, that is if the interviewer proves to you to provide the more real world example, you can you can make the list look like a Amazon product recommendation, fraud detection, search ranking, spam detection, and spell correction. So that's how you can provide the answer of this question. Question number 24. In your opinion, how will artificial intelligence impact application development? Basically, this type of question are morely asked about related whenever you are giving the answer, giving the interview for some software development company. So this type of question is related to the industry base, because if they want to make some development or they make to develop some software or application, so they are asking you this type of question. So this is a very real question is there. It is not related to the conceptually things of AI or ML, but it means it is the real world thing. So if you have been actively following these spaces, so you will know about all the AI operational and development things. In the coming months, you can expect artificial intelligence to be more involved in how we build the application. It has the potential to transform how we use and manage the infrastructure at a micro and macro level. Some say that the DevOps, like development and operational, will be replaced by what they are calling like artificial intelligence operations, because it allows the developer to engage in accurate root cause the analysis by the combining big data, machine learning, artificial intelligence, as well as computer visions and some data visualization things. Question number 25. What is collaborative filtering? Basically, this type of question is related to the machine learning and the recommendation system concept. Collaborative filtering is the one type of the recommendation system. So that's why collaborative filtering can be described as a process of finding patterns from available information to build the personalized recommendation. You can find the collaborative filtering in the action when you visit the website like Amazon and IMDb, because somewhere some people are related to look like you. They are watching some movies as well as they are watching some they are reading some books, so they can give the reviews related to the books and videos and movies. So based upon that, similar users are also getting some notification. You can also read these books or you can also watch these movies. So that is called as a collaborative filtering. Question number 26. Would you use the batch normalization? If so, can you explain why? So they want some brief answer related to this question. Batch normalization, basically the normalization is the main word is there. Normalization and standardization is both look like similar. There is both are working in some ranges like 0 to 1 or 1 to 100. So that's why batch normalization are related to the machine learning. So the idea is here to standardize the data before sending to the another layer. So this approach helps to reduce the impact of previous layers by keeping the mean and variance constant. It also makes the layer independent of the each and other to achieve the rapid convergence. For example, when we normalize the features from 0 to 1 or from 1 to 100, it helps to accelerate the learning cycle. So that's why batch normalization is very important whenever you are working with the neural network things, as well as in a machine learning, the standardization and normalization is very required when you make it everything on a one range. Question number 27. When is it necessary to update an algorithm? So you should update an algorithm when the underlying data source has been charged or the whenever there is a case of non-stationarity, and the algorithm should also be updated when you want the model to evolve as a data stream throughout the infrastructure. Okay. So again, that is based upon some type of the concept or what are the domain is there. So based upon that, you can change the algorithm. It's not look like if you find out these things and you can change the algorithm. You have to also follow the structure of the algorithm. Question number 28. What would you do if data in a data set were missing or corrupted? Again, this equation is mainly depends upon the data analysis of the data science, because the question is related to the data and how to handle the missing values. Also, the question is related to look like how you can handle the missing values, how you can handle the blank values, and how to clean the data. So this type of question and this question are giving the same answer. Whenever the data is missing or the corrupted, you either replace it or the another value or the drop those rows or columns together. In pandas, basically the pandas library is there. So pandas library can do all type of things. So in pandas, both is null and drop NA are handy tools to finding the missing values or the corrupted data and drop those values. You can also use the fill NA. Fill NA is the one type of function that can use for this one. Also is NA, drop NA. These all are the function based upon the pandas library, and that can help and that function are helpful to solve this type of problem. So this method to fill the invalid values in placeholder, for example, 0. Question number 29. Do you have research experience in AI? Again, there is question mark question is there. If you can give the answer yes, so you have to give some proper answer and some good answer. Okay, and if you have no any research experience, so you can easily ask to like no. Basically, if you are going for some beginner level of the job, like this is your first job is there related to the junior AI engineer or junior ML engineer, so you can ask them like you have research experience, so you can ask like no. But if you had done some work like around 1 year or 6 months or 1 year, so you can give the answer at yes. Like you can give the answer look like at present a lot of work within the AI space is research based, and as a result, many organizations will be digging into your background to ascertain the what kind of the experience you have in this area. And if you authored or co-authored research paper or have been supervised by the industry leaders, or make sure to share that information like particular who are the already done the job related to the artificial intelligence leader or the data science head of the data science department, head of the data science leader, and this type of your contact the person can done. So you can also ask them like that. I can complete the project under this person or this person. So that can helpful to you. In fact, take it a step further and have a summary of your research experience along with your research paper ready to share with the interviewing panel. So that will make an effect. Then also you have some good knowledge regarding to your research as well, because sometimes they are also asking you the question based upon whatever the research you had done. Question number 30. What is an A-star algorithm search method? Basically, again, this type of question is related to the core principle of the artificial intelligence. A-star is a computer algorithm that is extensively used for the purpose of the finding the path or traversing a graph in order to find the most optimal route between the various points called the node. So basically A-star algorithm are asking again this type of question, asking in terms of the junior level of artificial intelligence interview, because it's related to the core concept of the AI. And but basically in practical this nowadays this algorithm are not much used. But again, whenever you are going for junior AI engineer or the junior AI developer, so they can ask you this type of question. And as a computer engineer, you have to know about this question as well as group level. Question number 31, what is a bidirectional search algorithm? Again, that is based upon the core principle of the artificial intelligence. So in a bidirectional search algorithm, the search begins in forward from the beginning state and it reverses from the objective state. So that is always it works between the beginning state and the objective state, and the search is made to identify a common state, and the initial state is linked with the objective state in a reverse way. Each search is done just up to the half of the aggregated state. That's why that is called as a bidirectional search algorithm. It's not look like that in every interview question you are getting like A-star algorithm or the bidirectional search algorithm or the DFS algorithm. They are only asked about like one or two algorithms. Basic knowledge. They want just only basic knowledge. They don't want to like very deep knowledge or depth knowledge. They just only want to the basic knowledge. You can also stream the like this type of the diagram that will also helpful for you. Question number 32. What is an iterative depending depth first search DFS algorithm? So the repetitive search process of the level 1 and level 2 happens in this search, and this search processes continue until the solution is found, and nodes are generated until a single node is created and stack of the node is saved, because it depends upon the depth first search, like who will come the first, that will go with the very depth. Question number 33. What is the uniform cost search algorithm? The uniform cost search performs the sorting in increasing the cost of the path of a node, and it expands the least cost node. It is identical to the BFS like a first search, and if each iteration has the same cost, it investigates the ways in the expanding the order of the cost. Again, the uniform cost search is again very similarly to look like the best first search. Okay, so that is the again important things over here. Question number 34. Explain the alpha beta tuning. Again, alpha beta tuning is important thing that is not related to any type of the search methods or the basic algorithm, but is again important related to the core principle of the artificial intelligence. Alpha beta pruning is a search algorithm and that tries to reduce the number of the nodes that is searched by the minimax algorithm. So they can also find out the minimum thing and maximum thing. So that depends upon the minimax algorithm in the search place. It can be applied to the n number of depths. So what are the final depths? So that it depends upon the n number of depths and can prune the entire subtrees and the leaves. So that's how that will work over here. Question number 35. What is the fuzzy logic? Fuzzy logic is again depends upon the traditional AI. Okay, so that concept is related to the traditional AI. And nowadays the fuzzy logic is not very popular or not any working in a real world application, not much. And that is very old traditional artificial intelligence techniques is there. So very less chances are there to come this type of question in an interview. But I just want to also go with the like basic or junior level engineer. So that's why I just discuss this question. Like fuzzy logic is a subset of the artificial intelligence, and it is the way of the encoding human learning for the artificial processing, and it is the form of many valued logic, and it will represent as the if and then rules. Okay, so it's related look like sometimes it will work in a forward condition and then it will work in a backward condition. Basically the fuzzy logic or the fuzzy system, that is the here if you can see some diagram, so that is depends upon the function. So there is some triangular function is there, square wave function is there, sawtooth function is there. So that type of function will work in terms of the fuzzy logic or the fuzzy system thing. Question number 36. What is partial order planning? Again, not basically related to the machine learning or the deep learning. It is based upon the core principle of the artificial intelligence. A problem has to be solved in a sequential approach to attain the goal, and the partial order or the PO plan specifies all actions that need to be undertaken but specifies an order of the actions only when it was required. If it was not required, so you are not go with that particular action. Question number 37. What is FOPL? Again, FOPL, it represents like first order programmable logic or the first order predicated logic. So that's why it is again based upon the logic things in terms of core AI principles. So first order predicate logic is the collection of the formal systems where each statement is divided into the subject or the predicate, and this predicate refers to only one subject, and it can either modify specified or that defines the properties of the subject. So it can, the first order of predicate logic will depends upon some type of relation. So for example, we have some long word. So regarding to that all long word, we have to discuss about some type of small thing related to that, and we have to create the logic between two letters, and at the two words, and then at that we have to we have to add everything together, and we are getting the first order predicate logic. Question number 38, list the different algorithm techniques in machine learning. So there is a supervised learning is there, unsupervised learning, semi-supervised learning is there. Basically, the popular thing is the supervised learning and unsupervised learning. Supervised learning is come with the linear regression or the logistic regression, decision tree, and the random forest, support vector motion. This type of technique will come with the supervised learning. When we talk about the unsupervised learning, so we are getting the hierarchical clustering, anomalic detections, or k-means clustering. So this type of thing will come with the unsupervised learning. Semi-supervised learning, reinforcement learning, this type of things always correlated somewhere with the neural network. So that's why it is also somewhere it's regarding to the deep learning is there. Fifth thing was the transductions, and then learning to learn is there. So that is also used for the algorithm based upon the machine learning. Question number 39, list the extraction technique used for a dimensionality reduction. So this is very basic question is there. So you have to just only provide the three names. First is the independent component analysis. Second one is the principal component analysis, and third one is the kernel based principal component analysis. Because they are just only wants to know like what are the list of extraction techniques. Okay, so you are not just go with the very brief of this question. You have to just only provide the three main names from this dimensionality reduction technique. Question number 40, can you name three feature selection techniques in the machine learning? So you have to just only provide the three basic feature selection techniques to over here. You are not going with the again very depth with this question. So answer is the univariate selection, feature importance, and third one is the correlation matrix with the heat map. And if you want to go with the very depth on this question, like you also have to know some basic knowledge regarding to these things like univariate selection, feature importance, and the correlation matrix with the heat map. So that will helpful to you, because somewhere they are also asking to you like out of these three, which feature you are more comfortable. So you have to provide the one of the name, and you have to describe as well as that name. Question number 41, what is cost function? So again, that is based upon the machine learning or the deep learning combinedly, because the cost function is basically represent going with the gradient descent techniques, and there is multiple gradient descent technique is there, and also the here learning is very important is there. So you have to just only provide a simple idea related to the cost function. A cost function is a scalar function that quantifies the error factor of the neural network. Lower the cost function, better for the neural network. For example, while classifying the image in the MNIST dataset, like MNIST is a number-based dataset is there, and the input image is the digit 2, but the neural network wrongly predicted it to be number 3. So that's how you can give the answer related to the like what is the cost function. Do not need to go with the very depth of this question, because whenever they are just only ask like what is the thing, so you are just only go with the beginner level of the answer. You have to provide the beginner level of the answer. So here the last question is the question number 42. List out the different activation function or the different neuron function. It is again very important question is there. Basically, activation neurons or the activation function are mainly using in the deep learning or the deep neural network or the artificial neural network. Basically, the activation function are not working with the machine learning, but basically whenever we are going with the logistic regression type of things with the machine learning, so we are getting the sigmoid function or the softmax function. But mainly the activation function are working with the deep learning things like binary threshold neuron function, linear function is there, stochastic binary function is there, sigmoid neuron, it is also called as the sigmoid function, 10H function, ReLU function. There is also many more function is there, like leaky ReLU function is there, also the sawtooth function is there, and also square function is there. So multiple activation functions are working in a neural network or the artificial neural network topic, but I just only show the top 6 artificial functions that is very popular is there. So that's how this is the total 42 questions are there for preparing the artificial interview questions, artificial intelligence interview questions. So you can, if once you can get the total idea regarding to all the 42 question and answers. So I hope you can clear your interview in a junior level of the artificial intelligence, or the if you can also prepare for the data science interview, so you can also follow this type of question. That is again helpful to you. So thank you.